Hi students, this is Mrs. Carey. I woke up today not feeling very well and put in for a sub to take off, and then my Hudson Bear he has a fever, so we're both home sick. So anyway, sorry to miss school. I hate not being there, but I think you guys will be okay to finish up these last parts without me. You can email any questions as well, and if I'm not sleeping, resting, or taking care of him, I will try to get back to you as soon as I can, okay? Um, so you have your 2 body paragraphs done. You have one more body paragraph to write, and then you have the counter argument paragraph to write. So by Friday, you should have 5 paragraphs done total, your intro, your 3 regular body paragraphs, and your counter argument paragraph. And remember, this is a rough draft, so do your best on this, but we'll have time to talk and ask questions and make it even better. Do remember on your body paragraphs, you need to have a topic sentence with the transition. So first, second, also, in addition, those types of transition words. And your first sentence needs to state your main reason. Make sure you are introducing your arguments, your quotes and your paraphrases. Paraphrased information has to be cited also. So make sure you cite, and then make sure you explain those research facts and your own ideas as well. Okay, so addressing the counter argument. This could be within your body paragraphs. That's kind of what more sophisticated writers do, but we're in 7th grade, and when we do iLearn, we want to make sure that, oops, sorry, that's my phone. If the grader isn't very smart, that they know, wow, here's a whole paragraph. They definitely have the counter argument. So we are going to do this as our own paragraph until we get better at it. But in the counter argument, you want to show that you understand what the other side believes. You get where they're coming from. So you're going to address that and state what the other side thinks. But then you're going to show how they are wrong or how your side is still better. So you may want to use words like however, although, therefore, as you're transitioning between ideas, that might help strengthen what you're trying to say. Here's an example. This one doesn't have research, and some of you didn't really have a researched counter argument. You just had ones that you knew people would come up with. So if you just have a counter argument that people say that's common knowledge, you can use that. But if you have something that's been researched too, that you found in your research, that can be something you use too. You just need to make sure you introduce, cite, and explain. So some students and parents will still argue that their children have to come to school so that they don't get behind in classes or miss out on anything. So for that argumentative example we've been working with, that would be what the other side said. Yeah, they're sick, but they don't want to get behind. They don't want to miss out. So here I address the counter argument. I mentioned that some people will think this. This is what some people argue. And then when I start my rebuttal, when I prove that it's wrong, I use a transition word like however. That signals to the reader that here comes my idea. However, will a student really retain the day's lesson if he is feverish and feeling like death? So I used a rhetorical question there. Will a student really be able to turn in quality work when she feels so ill? Another rhetorical question. You don't have to use these, but that's just a argumentative device that I used. Besides, with school being one-to-one and using Google Classroom, students can keep up on most of the assignments from home in the comfort of their own bed while they rest. Excuse me. So I tried to prove how this is still not a good enough reason, that my reasons are still better. Okay? You could use some research facts to still prove how you're better, or you can just use your own common knowledge examples, your points to prove your point. Okay? I found a video, and I think it will record here, that also talks about this. So I'm going to play the video because I don't know if there'll be time for it to be approved. I'm going to play the video, and maybe this will help you too if you're a little lost.
If you've seen the movie 8 Mile, then you're familiar with the climactic rap battle at the end when the protagonist, Jimmy B. Rabbit Smith, takes on the film's antagonist, Papa Doc. B. Rabbit raps first, and his strategy is to bring up and address everything that Papa Doc plans to say about him before he has the chance to do so. He has nothing to say. The counter-argument is the section of your essay which enables you to employ this very same technique.
When you employ your counter argument, though, I don't want you to use cuss words because I bet Eminem did in 8 Mile. I don't know. I've never seen it because I'm lame. But we don't remember we're polite and respectful in our counter argument.
For many people, the most challenging part of a counterargument is deciding what counterclaim or counterclaims to address. A counterclaim is something that people who hold the opposite position of yours would argue against you. You don't want to argue weak counterclaims or misrepresentations of your opponent's actual positions. Doing so is called a straw man fallacy, and it makes your position much weaker than what it does when you argue against a high quality counterclaim. It's difficult but very effective to put yourself in the shoes of your opponent and think about what's wrong with your arguments or what arguments they might present against you. In a verbal argument, people can present points back and forth, but with writing, you only get one chance to address all potential backlash that could come your way. So you have to think carefully about those possibilities and narrow it down to one or two of the best counterclaims. Once you've picked a counterclaim or two, there are a couple of different ways to address them. You could use logical explanations or other reliable evidence to explain why the counterclaim is wrong or invalid. You might also
That's what I did in the example that I showed you.
acknowledge the counterclaim as a good point, but explain why it's not a good enough reason to change your position on the issue. Perhaps it's only one good point while your side has multiple good points that are equally valid. Or perhaps one of the arguments you presented is much stronger than the reason provided in the best counterclaim you could conceive.
So that might happen with you guys. You might address the other side, and it might be really good, but, you can explain how it's still not enough, right? Your point is still stronger, and you can explain that through your own evidence, your own reasons, or you can use research points that you haven't used yet.
In the example provided, you'll see that the most popular reasons for making seatbelts a legal requirement are acknowledged by the author, but the author explains the flaws in the reasoning that come with it. If the author believed that the opposition's best counterclaims were logically sound, he or she could acknowledge that before explaining why, even though they are logically sound, they are not good enough reasons to trump the reasons for the author's position. An example of that kind of counterargument can be seen here. Once you've examined the different examples of counterargument, experiment with writing some of your own counterarguments for persuasive or argumentative issues that you have written, talked, or argued about before.
All right. So I like how English class 212, how he described his counterargument and pulled that all together. So hopefully that helped you too. Side note, how funny is it that my counter argument is about staying home when you're sick?
Your team writes too many emails to count. Grammarly Business makes each and every
YouTube is talking. Sorry. Bye, YouTube. All right. This is the most awkward, terrible video, but I'm sorry. I'm sick, so I have an excuse. Good luck to you guys. Work hard. Be good for the sub. And we will... Oh, and tomorrow you'll have a little quiz over the Christmas Carol. Just basic comprehension. Okay? Have a good day.